All right. Well, this has been a great year we've had this past week. It's been been an amazing week, right? So I want to share some things with you that have taken place. Last Sunday, I said, and I believe that Donald Trump is going to be reelected as the president, and I said it over because of some biblical thoughts that I had. A lot of it has to do with all the prophetic things that I believe that President Trump has done over the last 4 years. And one of the main things that he's done was to declare Jerusalem the capital of Israel, moved our embassy to Jerusalem. The Golan Heights is also a very important detail in all of that. And then you have all the peace deals that he has been negotiating. And in my mind, in my thought, I'm like, those are some very prophetic things that are taking place in our world. And the only way those things continue, in my mind, is if Donald Trump is reelected. Because I know that just based on history, Joe Biden with Barack Obama had a completely different approach to their relations with Israel. And so I really believe that all those prophetic things that Donald Trump has done over the last 4 years will come to an end if he's not reelected. So I believed going into Tuesday that Donald Trump would be elected. And in fact, I still hold that belief. It's not over. So either way, on Tuesday, we had our election for our presidency, and it was a crazy day, amazing day. And everybody tuned in, they voted, they tuned in, and it was kind of a nervous type of evening. And when I say it was a nervous evening, I have not watched any sports this year. And so was really, I was on, my recliner watching the results start coming in. And I'm, like, wow, ooh, ah, kind of thing. But they seem to be coming in so slow. And one of the things that caught my attention was Texas. I mean, I'm living in Texas, and the results for Texas were coming in, and I was not, thinking that this was good. This was not looking good. But then finally, Texas turned red, and so I started feeling a little bit comfortable, but really not a lot was done on Tuesday night. When I went to bed, Florida had still not been called, with 97% of the polls in and everything. And Texas was not called yet, but Texas was now turning in red. And all the states, actually, it seemed like all the battleground states were red, including Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. So I went to bed feeling pretty comfortable. And the next morning I get up, like most of you guys all got up. It's now Wednesday, November 4th. I want you to remember that day, because that day will come in handy in just a bit. Okay, November 4th. Remember the day. So I get up. It's about 4 a.m. and I'm not feeling good about things. It seemed like about that time things started changing, but I hadn't even turned the TV on, so I didn't know any kind of results. All I still had within my mind was the results that I went to bed with last night, the night before, where Donald Trump was very close to being called in Florida. Texas was looking good. All these states were looking good. And Wednesday morning when I get up, I just feel this uneasy thing. And I posted my comment on Facebook on Wednesday. It's what I'm going to be preaching on tomorrow. God seemed to give me Daniel chapter 10. And my quote that I posted on Facebook was, God is looking for spiritual warriors. He's looking for prayer warriors who know and realize that they are in a spiritual dogfight and that it's not over until the trumpet sounds. And so I realized that oftentimes as believers, we we expect one thing, we pray God's will is done, then we go to bed and we get up the next morning thinking it's all been done, all taken care of, everything is good and we're good to go. But there was just this uneasiness, and that we need to be praying. We need to really be pouring out our heart and praying. And again, I'm going to be addressing that tomorrow, Daniel chapter 10. Hope to see you in our services tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. And we'll also be going live on Facebook. So either way, as you could tell, Thursday, everything started changing. Everything started changing. And it all about the time of 4 a.m. when I was feeling uneasy. There were big drops as far as vote drops and things in Michigan, Wisconsin, and all of a sudden it wasn't looking good. And then finally today, it has officially been pretty much called. It has been called now. Joe Biden is he is the presumptive winner. Okay, they are predicting him. They are calling him the president-elect. All right, but here's the part that I want y'all to understand about this. If it is the case that Joe Biden is elected, and I believe that that's God's will. If it is the case that Joe Biden is elected, then I believe that it's God's will. And even though it wasn't what I thought God's will was going to be, remember I told you on Sunday, nobody can tell you 100% accuracy what God's going to do, because God's ways are not our ways and His thoughts are not our thoughts. We just do the very best we can to discern it and then go from there. But God's going to do what God's going to do. The question is, will we accept it? And so if January 20th, 2021 comes around and Joe Biden is sworn in as the President of the United States, then he becomes my president. And as a believer, it's our responsibility to stand with our president, pray with our president. But the truth is, Donald Trump is president until January 20th. And that means we have to continue to pray for him. And in fact, he's just the projected winner. Joe Biden is just the projected winner. Nothing is official until, and I want y'all to remember this date, until the electors cast their votes. And according to the United States Election Code, Section 3, it's Article 7, that the electors will come together and they'll meet and they will cast their votes on the first Monday after the second Wednesday, which this year is December 14th. December 14th. Remember that day because it's important. So, either way, I said a lot to get to my point here, is God is doing something. 2020, if this election had taken place in any other year, you would say, well, this was been a very stressful election. But no, 2020 has been the craziest, most insane year, and there's still a month and a half to go. There is no telling what in the world is going to happen the rest of 2020. This election and how it's unfolded is for par. This is what we should have expected for the year 2020, because everything has been crazy, insane. Even just quit trying to figure out what's going to happen, okay? But either way, before 2020 even began, before this insane, crazy year even began, I felt compelled to read through the Bible 20 times in 2020. And I'm well on my way to do that. In fact, I've already done it 18 times. I only have 2 more times to do it. But this time was going to be different. For the 19th time that I started this week, I was going to go through the Bible and I was going to underline, mark down all the dates, the days, the specific days that are mentioned in the Bible. And so when I did, I go through the book of Genesis, the whole book of Genesis, and so far here's what I got, and I'm going to let my wife zoom in kind of on my paper here. So here's what I have. I've been just going through the books of the Bible, and as I'm reading, and I'm underlining all the times where a specific day is mentioned. So here's Genesis. Genesis isn't that long, really, and there's not that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times in the book of Genesis, a date, a specific date is mentioned. And what's interesting is all of those times, 11 times, are found in only 2 chapters of the Bible, of the book of Genesis. 2 chapters in the book of Genesis. It's Genesis chapter 7 and Genesis chapter 8. And why that's important is because Genesis chapter 7 and Genesis chapter 8 are all about the flood. They're all about the flood. And so it took my mind to Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. Jesus is given his great sermon on the Mount of Olives, called the Olivet Discourse. It's his great sermon. And in verse 37 of Matthew 24, it says, "For as were the days of Noah, so will the coming of the Son of Man. For as was the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." Now, as I've told you, through the book of Genesis, it only mentions a date, a day, 11 times. A specific day. And all of them have to do with the book, all of them have to do with the flood. All of them have to do with Noah. And so I wrote in the little column on the side, the days of Noah, question mark. The days of Noah, question mark. And those days happen to be, Noah will enter on the ark on the 10th day of the 2nd month. The rain begins, the flood starts on the 17th day of the 2nd month. The rain will rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, which ends on the 27th day of the 3rd month. Then there's 150 days the water would prevail. Then 17th day of the 7th month, the ark comes to rest on Mount Ararat. The 1st day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains are seen. 40 days later, or the 11th day of the 11th month, Noah opens up the windows. So I'm going through the days. These are the days that I have marked down. So when I get to the book of Exodus, the first time that a date is mentioned in the book of Exodus is Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. In Exodus 12, verse 2, God's delivering Israel out of Egypt, and he tells them, "This will be for you the 1st month." And so the Jewish calendar all of a sudden flips upside down in the book of Exodus, which means all the days that were mentioned in the book of Genesis now also get flipped. And the reason that's the case is because in the book of Genesis, they're going by the creation calendar, which begins in the 7th month, and in the book of Exodus begins the salvation calendar, which begins in the book the 1st month, which is the month of Nisan, which we've all come to understand. That being the case, I began to look up the days. And so the first slide I want to show you is the 17th day of the 2nd month, but starting from the creation calendar. It would be the 17th of Kislev, or the 17th of Chesvan. And so I'm going to put that up there on the screen. You should see the 17th of Chesvan. And notice that the 17th of Chesvan is Wednesday, November 4th, 2020. Why that's important is really important because Jewish history on the 17th day of Chesvan, which again, it's the 2nd month on the creation calendar, but it's the 8th month on our regular calendar now. But Jewish history says the rains began to fall on the 17th day of Chesvan of the year 1656 from creation, 2105, flooding the earth and rising above the highest mountains. Only Noah and his family survived. In the ark built to that end by divine command, and a pair of each of the animal species who entered with him into the ark. So I thought it was very interesting on Tuesday, November 3rd, when we all go to the polls and we elect, and some voted for Donald Trump, some voted for Joe Biden, and we sit in our chairs on Tuesday night and we're watching the results come in, and it's going very slow, but it looks like President Donald Trump is doing extremely well. And then we all go to bed and we wake up the next day, the 4th day of November, was the 17th day of Chesvan, and the same day in history as the rains began during the days of Noah. The flood began on Wednesday, November 4th, or the 17th day of Chesvan. Now, the reason I say that that's important is because if we count 40 days and 40 nights. Now remember, it rains for 40 days, 40 nights. And then even after that, the waters will continue on the earth for another 150 days. It'll continue to rise on the earth for another 150 days. But the rains itself, it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights, which will take us to the 27th day of Kislev. Now that would be the 27th day of the 3rd month, or that's according to Genesis. But in our respect, it's going to be the 27th day of the 9th month, from what we understand. So the next picture that I'm going to show, it shows you that 27th day of Kislev is Sunday, December 13th. Sunday, December 13th. Jewish history says that the 40 days and nights of rainfall, which covered the face of the earth with water in Noah's time, ended. So it stopped raining on Kislev, the 27th of the year 1656 from creation, or 2105 BCE. The flood itself lasted a full year as related to Genesis chapter 6 through 8. So that being said, I want y'all to catch what just happened there. You have 2 dates. The first date is the day that the rain started. The rain started on Wednesday, November 4th, or the 17th day of Chesvan. It lasts for 40 days. It'll go all the way to the 27th day of Kislev, which is December 13th. The day before, the very next day, Monday, December 14th, the electors will cast their ballots for the President of the United States. Is that a coincidence? That our election, from the day of our election all the way till the day that the electors will actually cast the ballot, falls into the period of time where the flood, the 40 days and 40 nights of rain, came on the days of Noah. Is it all a coincidence? Or is America about to see judgment? Is the floods coming upon our country? Now, like I said, I still believe. I still believe that in the end, Donald Trump is going to be elected. I'm going to preach on Daniel chapter 10 tomorrow. I believe that God is calling us to something. But this was very interesting to me, and I as your pastor, as your friend on Facebook, I felt it was my responsibility to bring this insight out to you, that our election, if it was any other year, and we were in, but for it to be in year 2020, all the craziness that's taken place in this year, and for it to fall exactly on the days where the rain of the judgment, the flood, came upon Noah and the ark and the people that were in the world at that time, and echoing the words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 24 verse 37, as it was in the days of Noah, so also it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. So I just wanted to share those things with you guys tonight. Thank y'all so much for watching me this evening. And again, I hope that you'll tune in tomorrow morning. Hopefully you'll be there tomorrow morning at service with us at 9:30 a.m. And if you're not able to make it, we're going to try our very best to go live, and hopefully we'll be able to do that as well at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Thank you guys for watching tonight, and I pray that each of y'all would have a blessed and amazing evening.